The world has sold us a lie about confidence. We've been told it's about being the loudest person in the room. It's about a relentless hustle, about chasing approval, about performing for a crowd that may or may not applaud. It's about a smile plastered on your face while you're desperately trying to prove your worth. But what if all of that is just an act, a fragile mask you wear to convince others, while your self-doubt quietly screams beneath the surface? Real confidence isn't like that. It's calm. It's steady. It doesn't need to shout because it has nothing to prove. It's a quiet power, a subtle presence that makes people stop and notice you, not because you're demanding their attention, but because your sheer presence commands it. Think of a seasoned leader in a meeting. They don't interrupt. They listen. They don't fill every silence. They let the silence do the work. And when they finally speak, everyone leans in. That's not an accident. That's the feeling of unshakable self-belief. This is the kind of confidence that cannot be faked. It's a deep-seated certainty, not a flimsy performance. And the highest, most dangerous form of this power is when you reach a state where nothing can shake you, nothing can provoke you, and nothing can control you. Most people go through life in constant reaction mode. They are a ship tossed on a stormy sea, at the mercy of every criticism, every rejection, every bit of chaos, and every passing opinion. And with every single reaction, they hand over a piece of their power. But when you learn to react to nothing, you stop giving away your energy. You become untouchable. You move through the world with a kind of presence that is both rare and magnetic. This book is not about pretending to be confident. It's not about forcing people to notice you. This is about becoming. It's about building an inner world so strong that no outside force can truly harm you. So take a deep breath, clear your mind, and prepare to embark on a journey that will transform you from a performer to a person of quiet power. We will break down exactly how to build that kind of confidence. You will learn how to silence self-doubt, control your emotions, detach from outcomes, and carry yourself with the authority of someone who needs nothing and fears nothing. This isn't a quick fix or a series of empty platitudes. This is a guide to building a foundation so strong it can't be broken. It's a blueprint to becoming the strongest, most authentic version of yourself. Chapter 1, The Apology Paradox. Have you ever found yourself caught in a verbal trap? A long, unnecessary explanation for something that didn't even require it? Maybe you were a few minutes late to a meeting, and instead of a simple "thank you for waiting," you launched into a 5-minute saga about traffic, a dead phone battery, or a stray dog on your street. Or perhaps someone questioned one of your decisions, and you felt an overwhelming need to justify every detail just to feel understood. This isn't a sign of being polite. It's a symptom of the apology paradox. It's the belief that by over-explaining we can win people over and escape judgment. But here's the unsettling truth. The more you explain, the weaker you appear. You're not projecting clarity. You're sending a silent message that says, "I need your approval to feel okay." Think about it from a psychological perspective. When a person over-explains, their brain is often in a defensive mode, trying to manage how others perceive them. It's an unconscious scramble to prove worth. You're essentially putting your sense of value up for debate, inviting others to weigh in on your choices and decisions. Confident people don't live in this mode of apology. They don't feel the need to justify every move. Their self-worth is not on the ballot for public opinion. When you stop constantly explaining yourself, you instantly project strength and your words begin to carry more weight. Your presence commands more respect. This isn't about becoming rude or dismissive. It's about discerning when a justification is needed and when it's just a nervous habit. You're learning to stand by your choices without needing external validation. Imagine the power in a simple, confident response. If someone asks why you made a specific choice, you don't need a full essay. Think about how powerful it feels to hear someone say, "I chose this because it's what's right for me," and then they simply stop. No over-explaining, no backpedaling, just calm, quiet certainty. Every time you give an unnecessary explanation, you hand over a piece of your power. But every time you keep it short and let your choice stand on its own, you're sending a louder, clearer message. I don't need your permission. Here's a challenge for you. For the next week, catch yourself in the act. The moment you start piling on excuses, stop yourself. Replace that long justification with something simple and direct, such as, "I can't make it. I've decided to go this way. That doesn't work for me." Then be silent. Let the silence carry the weight of your confidence. At first, it will feel incredibly uncomfortable. You'll feel the urge to fill the space and soften your words. But with practice, you will discover something life-changing. The less you explain, the stronger you feel. People will begin to take you more seriously because you're demonstrating a core self-trust. And most importantly, you will begin to take yourself more seriously. This is a small but powerful shift that marks the beginning of dangerous confidence. When you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone, you've taken your first definitive step toward becoming an untouchable force. Chapter 2: The Architect of Your Mind. If you want to become dangerously confident, you have to start with the voice that speaks to you most, the one in your own head. That voice is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. It's either building you up or it's tearing you down. The way you speak to yourself in private eventually shows up in how you present yourself in public. Think about it. If your inner dialogue constantly says, "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess things up," how do you think you'll act when you walk into a room? You'll be nervous and hesitant, and you'll make yourself feel small. But what if that same inner voice says, "I can handle this. I've done harder things before. I'm exactly where I need to be"? When you walk into that same room with that mindset, you'll feel taller, calmer, and sharper. Same person, different voice. And that difference changes everything. Confidence doesn't start with applause, achievements, or attention. It starts in your mind. It starts with the words you allow to echo inside your head. You can't control what everyone says about you, but you can control what you repeat to yourself every single day. The mistake people make is waiting for life to validate them before they change that inner voice. They think, "Once I succeed, I'll feel confident," or "Once people respect me, I'll talk to myself better." But it works the other way around. You don't wait for proof. You create it. You start speaking to yourself like someone worthy of respect, and then your actions begin to follow that belief. Here's the secret. Your brain believes in repetition. Whatever you repeat to yourself becomes your truth. Say you're weak long enough, and you'll start to shrink. Say you're capable, strong, and calm long enough, and you'll start to rise to meet those words. The inner voice acts like a thermostat for your confidence. If the temperature is set low, you'll always sink back down, no matter how much outside success you achieve. But if it's set high, you'll rise above challenges because you believe you belong at that level. So how do you master this inner voice? Start by catching it in the act. Pay attention to the quiet whispers you tell yourself throughout the day. When you make a mistake, do you say, "I'm so stupid"? Or do you say, "That's okay. I'll do better next time"? The goal here isn't to create fake positivity and tell yourself you're perfect. Dangerous confidence isn't about lying to yourself. It's about choosing words that build, not words that destroy. For example, instead of "I can't handle this," try "This is hard, but I'll figure it out." Instead of "I always fail," say, "Every setback teaches me something that makes me stronger." When you start directing your inner voice instead of letting it run wild, you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop reacting so harshly to challenges, criticism, and rejection. Why? Because your mind is already trained to back you up. It becomes your strongest ally instead of your worst critic. Let me give you a challenge. For the next 30 days, every morning, tell yourself 3 things out loud. I respect myself. I can handle anything that comes today. I don't need anyone's approval to move forward. It may feel awkward at first, but say those lines every day and watch how your body starts to carry them. Watch how your energy changes in conversations and how you walk into situations differently. Your inner voice is the foundation of your confidence. Master it, and you won't just appear confident, you'll feel it in your bones and no one can take it from you. Because here's the truth. Confidence isn't what happens when others believe in you. It's what happens when you believe in yourself first. And that belief begins with the voice inside your head. Chapter 3: The Foundation of Power. Every kind of lasting confidence starts with one simple truth. You cannot feel powerful if you don't respect yourself first. Respect is the foundation. Without it, confidence is nothing more than an act, a mask you wear to convince others while deep down you're still filled with uncertainty. But when you build real self-respect, confidence stops being a performance. It becomes who you are. Stops being a performance. It becomes who you are. Think about how you treat a person you deeply respect. You listen to them, you value their time, and you trust their decisions. Now ask yourself honestly, do you treat yourself the same way? Or do you constantly cut yourself down with criticism, ignore your own needs, and allow people to cross your boundaries because deep down you don't see yourself as worthy? The truth is, the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how the rest of the world treats you. If you disrespect your own time, others will too. If you speak poorly to yourself, you'll tolerate others speaking to you in the same way. But when you start showing yourself respect, when you hold yourself to a higher standard, people around you sense it. They respond differently, and that's where dangerous confidence begins to take shape. Self-respect doesn't come from big achievements. It comes from the small daily choices that tell your mind, I matter. It's about keeping promises to yourself, following through when you say you'll do something, and not settling for situations that go against your values. Each act of respect you show yourself builds strength inside you. When you wake up early because you said you would, that's respect. When you walk away from a toxic conversation instead of trying to win approval, that's respect. When you set a boundary and hold it, that's respect. Every one of these choices may look small on the outside, but together, they create the deep, unshakable feeling that you can trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, confidence flows naturally. Here's the key: respect yourself first, and the world has no choice but to adjust. You no longer have to beg for recognition or feel the need to explain or prove your worth. You simply know it, and because you know it, others see it. So if you want to build confidence that lasts, don't start with empty pep talks. Start with respect. Start with the way you talk to yourself, the way you carry yourself, and the way you hold yourself to a higher standard. Confidence without respect is empty, a performance with a hollow core. But respect that is practiced every day will eventually overflow into a confidence so strong it cannot be broken. And once you've built that, no one can take it away. The Chapter 4, The Freedom from Others. One of the biggest traps that steals confidence is the constant, gnawing need for approval. You know what I mean? That itch inside that asks, do they like me? Do they agree with me? Am I good enough in their eyes? It's a subtle force, yet it controls so many people's lives. We see it everywhere. People dressing not for themselves, but for what others might say. They post on social media not to share, but to be validated. They chase compliments and avoid criticism, feeling crushed when someone doesn't clap for them. Here's the core problem. When your confidence depends on approval, it will always be fragile. Approval is a fleeting, temporary thing. It can be given, and it can be taken away in an instant. One moment people are cheering for you, and the next they're criticizing you. If your self-worth rises and falls with their reactions, you'll live like a puppet, with your emotions controlled by strings you can't see. The truth is, no one in this world owes you approval, and no one's opinion should have the power to define you. When you kill this need for approval, you free yourself. You stop chasing applause and start focusing on living with authenticity. You stop bending your life to fit other people's expectations and start building a life that feels right to you. This is where dangerous confidence comes from. Think about the people you admire the most. Are they the ones who desperately try to please everyone, or are they the ones who stand firm even when people disagree with them? It's always the second group. Why? Because real strength isn't about being liked by all. It's about being respected for standing true to yourself. Let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with enjoying praise or feeling happy when someone appreciates your work. The problem arises when you need it, when you depend on it to feel valuable. The moment you depend on it, you hand over your power to others. You give them the remote control to your emotions. And as we all know, people change channels fast. So how do you kill this need? Start small. Practice saying no without giving a long explanation. Make decisions based on what you know is right for you, even if others won't understand. Remind yourself daily, their approval is optional, but my self-respect is not. You'll notice something powerful when you stop chasing approval. At first, some people might not like it. They might call you arrogant, selfish, or stubborn. But stay steady, because in time, those same people will begin to respect you more than they ever did when you were bending for their acceptance. Why? Because people may enjoy it when you seek their approval, but they admire it when you don't need it. Dangerous confidence is born when you walk into a room and don't wonder, will they like me? Instead, you think, do I respect myself in how I'm showing up here? That single shift changes everything. It takes you out of the role of a performer and puts you in the role of a leader. The world doesn't need another person begging for likes, chasing applause, or waiting for permission. The world respects the person who moves forward with or without approval, the one who lives as though they already have everything they need inside. The day you stop chasing approval, you step into a new kind of freedom. You stop reacting to every comment, every look, and every bit of criticism, and you start living on your own terms. That's when people notice you, not because you ask them to, but because they can't ignore someone who doesn't need their validation. And that right there is dangerous confidence. Chapter 5, The Unsettling Calm. 1. Of the greatest signs of confidence is not how loud you can be, but how quiet you can remain. Most people believe strength is about having the last word, about showing everyone how sharp or smart they are. But true strength is often the opposite. It's the ability to stay calm, stay silent, and not be pulled into every emotional battle. Think about how often people lose their power because they couldn't keep quiet. Someone criticizes them, and they snap back. Someone disrespects them, and they explode. Someone challenges them, and they rush to defend themselves. In that moment, they think they're showing strength, but really they're showing that their emotions are in control. And when your emotions control you, your power is gone. Silence, on the other hand, is disarming. It's unsettling. When people expect a reaction, and you give them nothing, they don't know how to handle it. They push and you don't move. They attack and you stay steady. That's what makes silence powerful. It shows that you are not easily shaken, that you cannot be manipulated. Now let's be clear. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you choose your responses carefully. It means you refuse to waste energy on pointless battles. When you respond with silence instead of raw emotion, you buy yourself time to think. You give yourself space to decide if the situation even deserves your attention. Imagine someone trying to provoke you, maybe insulting you in front of others, expecting you to blow up. Most people would take the bait. But if you stay calm, if you look at them and simply choose silence, suddenly the spotlight shifts. They start to look foolish, not you. Why? Because you've shown that their words didn't penetrate. You've shown that you are in control. There's another layer to this. Silence not only protects your power, but it also makes your words stronger when you finally choose to speak. If you speak less but with calm authority, people listen. They know you don't waste words, and they know if you're speaking, it matters. That's how leaders talk. That's how confident people carry themselves. So how can you practice this? Start by noticing your triggers. Pay attention to the moments when you feel your emotions boiling. When someone criticizes you, when they disagree, or when they mock, that's the moment to pause. Don't rush to react. Breathe. Let silence do the work for you. 9 times out of 10, you'll realize that you don't even need to respond. And in the rare times you do, your response will come from a place of strength, not impulse. You don't owe everyone a reaction. You don't have to defend yourself every time someone questions you. You don't have to fight every little battle. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing at all. Silence is not empty. It's full of power. Think about how this changes the way people see you. The person who reacts emotionally is predictable and easy to control. But the person who can stay silent, calm, and unbothered, that person is dangerous because you can't push them around. You can't get under their skin. You can't break their focus. Dangerous confidence is not in shouting louder than others. It's in standing tall while others shout at you and not moving. It's in choosing silence when others expect a storm. It's in showing that your emotions belong to you, not to anyone else. The next time someone tries to pull you into their drama, remember this: silence is your shield, silence is your strength, and silence is your power. Use it, and you'll discover just how unshakable you can be. Chapter 6. The Eye of the Storm. Confidence isn't truly tested when things are going well. Anyone can look composed when life is smooth, when the plan is working, and when nothing unexpected shows up. But the real measure of confidence is how you carry yourself when chaos strikes. This is how you carry yourself when chaos strikes. When the room gets loud, when people panic, when everything seems uncertain, that's when true confidence either collapses or shines. Most people fall apart in chaos. They rush, they panic, and they overreact. Their emotions take control, and they make poor decisions because they're desperate to fix everything at once. But the ones who stand out, the ones who earn respect without even trying, are those who stay calm. They slow down when everyone else speeds up. They breathe when everyone else holds their breath. They keep their voice steady when everyone else is shouting. That calmness is rare, and that's what makes it so powerful. Think about how you feel around someone who stays composed in stressful situations. You feel safer, and you feel like things will be okay even if they aren't yet. Their calm transfers to you. That's the power of presence. And the good news is you can train yourself to become that person. It starts with recognizing that chaos itself doesn't break people. Their reaction to chaos does. The event might be messy, but it's your response that decides whether you crumble or rise. If you allow yourself to get swept up in the storm, you lose control. But if you anchor yourself in calm, you take control back. So how do you do it? Begin with your breathing. When chaos hits, your body's natural instinct is to tense up and breathe shallowly, preparing for fight or flight. That's when you must take control of your breath. Slow, steady breathing tells your body, I am not in danger, I am in control. That one small act creates space between the chaos and your reaction. Next, manage your pace. In stressful situations, people tend to rush as if speed will solve everything. But rushing often leads to mistakes that create more chaos. The confident person doesn't hurry. They move deliberately with clarity. Their pace communicates, I am steady, I am not rattled. Then keep your voice low and calm. Chaos feeds off noise. If you match that noise with panic, you add fuel to the fire. But if you speak slower, softer, and more grounded, people listen. You instantly shift the energy. And even if you don't have all the answers, your calm tone reassures others and positions you as someone to trust. Standing calm in chaos is not about pretending nothing is wrong. It's about refusing to let the chaos own you. It's about keeping your center when everything around you tries to pull you off balance. And when you do this consistently, people begin to notice. They see you as reliable and strong. They see you as a leader, even if you never asked for the role. Here's the deeper truth. Staying calm in chaos isn't just for others. It's for you. Because every time you stay grounded when life gets messy, you remind yourself of your own strength. You prove to yourself that storms don't break you. They reveal you. And that proof builds a confidence that lasts far beyond the moment. So the next time life throws chaos your way, pause, breathe, slow down, anchor yourself. Decide in that moment that you will not be another panicked voice in the storm. You will be the calm in the room. Chapter 7. The Earned Confidence. Confidence isn't magic. It doesn't appear out of thin air just because you've decided to be more positive. It isn't just a mindset or a positive affirmation whispered in the mirror. Real, lasting, and truly dangerous confidence is built on something much deeper: competence. When you know you've put in the work, when you've trained yourself until a skill becomes second nature, you stop hoping you're good enough and start knowing you are. That shift from doubt to certainty is where unshakable confidence is born. Think about anything you've ever truly mastered, big or small. Maybe it was learning to drive, cooking a new dish, or giving a presentation. At first you were probably nervous. You questioned yourself, and your hands might have even been shaking. But the more you practiced, the smoother it became. And one day, What once felt terrifying started to feel natural. That's the power of training. Repetition turns fear into familiarity. Most people want confidence without putting in the reps. They want to feel certain before they've earned certainty. But it doesn't work that way. You don't wait to feel confident in order to act. You act again and again until your actions create confidence. This is a fundamental principle of human psychology and a core truth that separates the truly confident from the merely hopeful. Skill builds belief. Every time you show up, every time you practice, every time you push through a mistake, you are carving confidence into your very bones. And here's the key. It's not just about practicing. It's about practicing with intention. Half-hearted effort doesn't build confidence. Going through the motions doesn't create mastery. You have to push yourself past easy comfort. You have to stretch your limits. Because when you know you've trained harder, longer and sharper than most people ever will, you walk into any room differently. You don't have to brag about it or try to convince anyone. The certainty shows in how you move, how you speak, and how you carry yourself. Think of a professional athlete stepping onto the field. They don't stand there wondering if they can do it. They've already trained for it 1,000 times. The repetition has built muscle memory, and their body knows what to do. Their mind knows they can handle the pressure. That's what training gives you, a certainty that no one can take away. Now imagine applying that same principle to your own life, to your career, your communication, or your relationships. Imagine putting in the kind of practice where your skills are so sharp, you no longer question yourself, you just perform. That's the kind of quiet power that people feel without you having to announce it. So how do you start? First, identify the areas where doubt holds you back. Is it speaking with confidence? Is it leading others? Is it staying calm under pressure? Then commit to training that skill deliberately. Read, study, practice, and repeat until it becomes second nature. And most importantly, don't quit when it feels uncomfortable. That's the sign you are actually growing. Second, embrace mistakes as part of the process. Every stumble is a lesson. Every failure is practice. Confidence isn't the absence of mistakes. It's the ability to keep going until those mistakes no longer control you. Third, measure your progress. Look back every few weeks and notice how far you've come. Confidence grows when you can see your own improvement, when you realize that what once scared you is now routine. Here's the beauty of this approach. No one can take away what you've trained for. Compliments may fade and approval may vanish, but skill stays with you and skill builds certainty. Dangerous confidence isn't about puffing up your chest or pretending you're fearless. It's about doing the work behind the scenes until you can step forward with a calm assurance. Until you don't have to tell yourself, I think I can, but can say with conviction, I know I can. Train until skill becomes certainty. Because once you reach that point, you'll discover that true confidence doesn't need to be loud. It's steady, unshakable, and undeniable, and it comes from one thing, knowing you've earned it. Knowing you've earned it. Chapter 8. The power of saying no. Confidence isn't just about how you present yourself to the world. It's also about how you protect yourself from it. One of the clearest signs of true confidence is the ability to set boundaries and hold them without apology, without guilt, and without flinching. Boundaries are not walls meant to keep others out. They are lines that protect your most valuable resources, your time, your energy, and your self-respect. And if you don't set them, the world will gladly run right over you. Here's the harsh reality: people will always take as much as you allow. If you give unlimited time, they will take it. If you never say no, they'll expect yes forever. This isn't always because people are cruel. It's because human nature pushes against limits. And if you have no limits, you will constantly feel drained, resentful, and powerless. Confidence means you know your value, and when you know your value, you protect it. You don't throw your time away on things that don't matter, and you don't allow toxic people to drain you. Saying no is not selfish. It is a powerful act of strength. It proves that you respect yourself enough to protect your peace. Think about how many times you've said yes just to avoid conflict. Perhaps you agreed to plans you didn't want, took on work you couldn't handle, or allowed someone to speak to you in a way that made you feel small. Each time you did, a little piece of your confidence weakened, not because of what they did, but because of what you allowed. Confidence grows when you decide, this is where I draw the line, and here is the key. You don't need to justify your boundaries. Too often, people over-explain, saying, I'm sorry, I can't because, followed by a long list of reasons. But no is a complete sentence. Simple, firm statements like, that doesn't work for me or I'm not available are all that's required. At first, setting boundaries feels uncomfortable, and you'll worry that people will think you're cold or unkind. But over time, you'll realize something important. People actually respect you more when you have boundaries. They learn to take you seriously because they see that you are not easily manipulated or desperate for approval. The right people, the ones who genuinely care about you, will respect your boundaries. It's the wrong people, those who want to take advantage, who will get upset. So when someone gets angry at your boundary, take it as confirmation that the boundary was necessary. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It's about protecting your space so you can give your best to the things that truly matter. You cannot pour into your goals, your dreams, or your relationships if you're constantly drained from saying yes to everything else. Boundaries are not selfish. They are essential. So how do you start? Begin with one simple area of your life where you feel resentment. That resentment is a signal that a boundary is missing. It could be a coworker who dumps extra work on you, or a friend who takes more than they give. Wherever you feel that tension, that's where a boundary is needed. Decide your line, then enforce it calmly. Confidence is not about pleasing everyone. It's about living with integrity to yourself. Dangerous confidence is when you can say no without shaking, hold your ground without guilt, and protect your energy like it's the most valuable resource you own. Because once you master that, you'll discover that real confidence doesn't just come from what you say yes to. It comes from the power of what you refuse to accept. Chapter 9, The Unseen Shield. Before you ever open your mouth, your body is already speaking for you. It's telling the world who you are through a silent, powerful language. People see how you walk, how you stand, how you sit, and how you look at them. In just a few seconds, they've already formed an opinion about you long before you've said a single word. This is the unseen shield of confidence, a nonverbal communication that is often louder than anything you could ever say. Here's a crucial truth. If your words and your body language don't match, people will always believe your body. You can say, I'm confident, but if you're slouched over, avoiding eye contact and fidgeting with your hands, nobody buys it. On the other hand, you could say very little, but if your posture is strong, your eyes are steady, and your movements are calm, people will feel your presence and believe that you have authority and power. This is not about acting or pretending. It's about removing the signals that sabotage you, the hunched shoulders, the nervous fidgeting, and the darting eyes. These little habits send out silent messages that you might not even notice, but others pick up on immediately. So what does it mean to let your body speak first? It means you walk into a room like you belong there. It means you stand tall, shoulders back, chest open, and head held high. Not in arrogance, but in quiet certainty. Your handshake is firm, your eye contact is steady, and you move with intention. Think about the people you naturally respect when they walk into a room. They don't have to announce themselves or prove anything. Their presence says it all, and that's not an accident. It's body language. Your body also trains your mind. If you sit small, you feel small. If you carry yourself like you're hiding, your mind starts to believe you should hide. But if you sit upright, expand your posture, and move with purpose, your mind receives a different message. I am strong, I am steady, and I belong here. The mind and body are connected. And sometimes the fastest way to shift your mind is to shift your body first. Here's a practical tip. The next time you walk into a room, pause at the doorway. Take one calm breath, straighten your posture, and then walk in at a steady pace. That single adjustment can change how people see you and how you see yourself. Another tip is to practice holding eye contact. Not in a creepy, overbearing way, but in a calm, steady way that says, I see you and I am comfortable being seen. Most people break eye contact too quickly because they feel insecure. Train yourself to hold it just a second longer. That second communicates confidence without a single word. When your body speaks confidence, you don't need to oversell yourself or push too hard to be noticed. People simply feel it. When they feel it, they treat you differently. They listen more closely, respect your space, and trust your words more. Dangerous confidence isn't about shouting louder. It's about walking into a space with such quiet certainty that people can't ignore you. Even if you never raise your voice, your body tells the story before your mouth ever does. So let your body speak first. Train it to send the right message. Because when your body communicates strength, your words only need to confirm what people already believe, that you are someone worth listening to. Chapter 10. The Rejection Refinery. The word itself, rejection, makes most people uncomfortable. Nobody likes hearing no, being turned down, or being pushed aside. But here's the truth. Rejection is one of the most powerful tools for building confidence if you learn how to use it. The difference between people who crumble under rejection and people who rise from it is a simple matter of perspective. Most people take rejection personally. They hear no and they think it means I'm not good enough, or I'll never make it, or I should just give up. They attach rejection to their identity, but it's not a reflection of your worth as a person. It's feedback, a redirection, a test, a moment designed to make you stronger, not smaller. Think about some of the most successful, confident people in history. They faced rejection over and over again. Authors had their books turned down by dozens of publishers before becoming bestsellers. Entrepreneurs had their ideas laughed at before creating billion-dollar companies. Athletes were cut from teams before becoming legends. Rejection didn't destroy them. It built them. It toughened their skin, forced them to sharpen their skills, and fueled their drive. That's what you have to train yourself to see. Rejection is not the end of your path. It's the sharpening stone for your confidence. Every no you face is an opportunity to grow more resilient, more determined, and more dangerous in your certainty. The shift you need to make is to stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What can I take from this?" Did the rejection reveal a weakness you need to work on? Did it push you to try a different, better approach? Did it expose people or places that were never truly for you in the first place? Every rejection carries a lesson if you're willing to listen. And let's be honest, rejection stings because it pokes at our pride. It makes us feel exposed. But that sting is what makes it so powerful. It wakes you up and pushes you to toughen up. You can't build real confidence in a world where everyone always says yes to you. That would only give you a fragile confidence, the kind that shatters the first time life tells you no. The dangerous, unshakable confidence we're talking about here comes from being rejected and still standing tall. So how do you turn rejection into power? First, don't run from it. Expect it and even welcome it. Understand that rejection is proof you're stretching yourself. If you're never being told no, it means you're not aiming high enough or risking enough. Second, detach rejection from your worth. A no to your idea, your request, or your effort is not a no to your value as a person. It's just information, nothing more. Learn to separate the two and rejection loses its ability to crush you. Third, use rejection as fuel. Let it light a fire under you. Let it push you to prove, not to them, but to yourself, that you are capable of more. To yourself, that you are capable of more. Treat every rejection like a weight in the gym. It only builds strength if you keep lifting. Adopt this mindset. Every no is a step closer to the right yes. Every closed door redirects you toward a better one. Every person who walks away clears space for those who truly see and value you. Rejection doesn't block your path. It clears it, if you keep moving forward. True, unshakable confidence isn't forged by avoiding rejection. It's built by meeting it head-on again and again until no longer frightens you. Until you understand, rejection doesn't define you, it refines you. So the next time you hear it, don't shrink. Stand taller. Whisper to yourself, "Good. This is my chance to grow," then keep walking. Because the moment you stop fearing rejection, you become unstoppable. Chapter 11. The art of detachment, one of the most powerful choices you'll ever make, is learning to let go of outcomes. Most people tether their self-worth to results. Success lifts them. Failure breaks them. Their emotions swing like a pendulum, hostage to what happens next. But real confidence, dangerous confidence, emerges when you detach from outcomes and anchor yourself in who you are, not what you achieve. How often have you held back because you feared the result? You didn't apply for the job, speak your truth, or take the leap, all because you were fixated on avoiding rejection, judgment, or failure. That's attachment, and it paralyzes you, keeping you trapped in the shadow of what if. Detachment changes everything. It frees you from obsessing over approval, applause, or acceptance. You give your best, not for a guaranteed result, but because it's who you are. The outcome becomes feedback, not a verdict on your worth. You focus only on what you control, your effort, your attitude, and your preparation. The rest you release it. Consider the elite athlete. They can't control the weather, the referee, or their opponent, but they can control their training, their focus, and their grit. Win or lose, their self-worth remains intact. They compete with everything they have, yet remain unbroken by the scoreboard. That's detachment in action. When you stop clinging to outcomes, you also become immune to manipulation. No one can dangle rewards to steer you or threaten loss to shake you, because your value isn't tied to winning, gaining, or being chosen. The tighter you grip, the more anxious and fragile you feel. But the moment you say, "Whatever happens, I'll be okay," you unlock a new kind of strength, calm, focused, and fiercely resilient. So how do you practice this? Start with your language. Swap "I have to win" for "I'll give my best and learn no matter the result." Replace "I need them to like me" with "I'll show up as myself." The right people will resonate. These small shifts rewire your mind. Your worth isn't on the line. Next, prioritize process over outcome. Build rituals you control. Consistent effort, daily discipline, unwavering standards. Want confidence in your work? Focus on showing up, not just the final product. Want confidence in relationships? Prioritize authenticity over approval. When your confidence is rooted in action, results become secondary. And remember this truth: you've survived every disappointment, failure, and rejection life has thrown at you, and you're still here, stronger, wiser, sharper. That's proof you don't need perfect outcomes to thrive. You just need resilience. Dangerous confidence isn't about controlling results. It's about mastering yourself and trusting that, no matter what happens, you'll adapt, grow, and move forward. So loosen your grip. Give your all. Stay true, then let go. The moment you detach from outcomes, you step into a freedom so deep, so steady, that nothing and no one can shake it. Chapter 12. The unconventional path. Authentic confidence is born not from conformity, but from the courage to live by your own compass, even when it points in a direction no one else understands. This is the essence of the unconventional path. It's not rebellion for its own sake. It's fidelity to your values, your passions, and your personal definition of success. Too many follow the safe route, the expected career, the prescribed milestones, only to wake up feeling hollow, haunted by a quiet insecurity. They played by their rules but never tested their own strength. Their lives reflect others' expectations, not their own convictions. They reacted, never led. Choosing your own path is an act of quiet defiance against a world that wants to box you in. It declares, "My truth matters more than your approval." Yes, it's scary. It means stepping into uncertainty and facing criticism from those too afraid to do the same. But with every bold choice, you gather evidence of your resilience. Each time you honor your inner voice over external pressure, you prove to yourself, "I can handle this. I am strong enough to build my own life." This path forges a rare kind of confidence, one not based on fitting in, but on unshakable self-trust. You stop needing validation because your decisions are rooted in authenticity. You care less about being understood and more about being true. So begin here. Where are you bending yourself to meet someone else's expectations? Are you stuck in a job that drains you to please your family? Spending on things you don't love to keep up with friends? Living in a way that breeds resentment? That discomfort is your compass, pointing you back to your course. The road to dangerous confidence isn't paved with ease. It's forged in discomfort. Seek it, lean into it, make it your home, because once you do, no challenge will feel too great. You'll have trained yourself to thrive where others retreat, walking with a quiet, unbreakable power that comes not from the world's applause, but from the certainty that you are living your life on your terms. This version maintains the original's motivational spirit while sharpening its message, improving pacing, and creating a more resonant literary tone, ideal for readers seeking both inspiration and practical wisdom. Chapter 13. The Unshakable Listener. Most people believe that to appear confident and powerful in a conversation, you have to talk a lot, take up space, and dominate the dialogue. They are constantly waiting for their turn to speak, rehearsing their rebuttal, or trying to prove how smart they are. This behavior, however, is not a sign of confidence. It's a sign of deep-seated insecurity. It reveals an urgent need to be heard and a fear of being forgotten. This frantic need to fill every silence and pile on every word actually weakens your message and makes your presence feel small. A truly confident person understands a fundamental truth. Listening is a sign of control, and control commands respect. Think about the most powerful people you've encountered. They are often the quietest people in the room. They don't rush to fill every silence, and they don't try to dominate the conversation with endless words. Instead, they wait. They listen, and when they finally do speak, everyone leans in. Their words carry weight because they are rooted in understanding. This is the art of the unshakable listener. The insecure talker listens only to reply, but the confident listener listens to understand. When you truly hear someone, you gather information. You understand their motives, their fears, and their strengths. And when you finally respond, your words are sharper and more precise because they are rooted in that understanding. This makes you stand out instantly. Think about conversations you've had with people who barely let you finish a sentence. Didn't it feel like they were trying too hard? Now think about someone who looked you in the eye, listened without interruption, and then gave you a short but meaningful response. Which one felt more powerful? Always the second one. The confident listener demonstrates an inner calm that shows they aren't scrambling for approval. They are choosing their response carefully. So how can you practice this? First, slow down. Don't rush to answer every question immediately. Give yourself a moment. That pause alone communicates confidence and shows you're not desperate. Second, trim the excess. Instead of long explanations, give simple, strong statements. Statements like yes, no, or that works for me are short, clear, and firm, and people respect that. Third, make silence your ally. When you speak less, you give others space to reveal themselves. People often expose their insecurities, weaknesses, and intentions when you just let them keep talking. Meanwhile, you stay calm, observant, and in control. This is an advantage most people miss because they're too busy trying to be heard. This doesn't mean you should become silent all the time. Confidence is about balance. Speak when it matters and stay quiet when it doesn't. Over the next few days, practice cutting your words in half. When you're tempted to explain yourself, shorten it. When you're tempted to fill a silence, hold it. When you feel the urge to prove something with words, stop and let your presence do the talking. You'll notice something powerful happen. People will start leaning in and asking for your opinion instead of ignoring it. They'll respect your words more because you don't throw them around carelessly. Most importantly, you'll feel a deeper sense of control because you'll no longer speak out of insecurity, but out of choice. Dangerous confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't ramble. It doesn't beg to be heard. It speaks less but commands more. And once you master that, you'll discover that silence combined with the right words at the right time is one of the most powerful tools you'll ever have. Chapter 14. The Unstoppable Habit Most. People believe confidence is something you either have or you don't. They see confident people as lucky, born with an innate sense of certainty. But that's a dangerous myth. True lasting confidence isn't a gift. It's a byproduct of action. It's built brick by brick, not through a single monumental achievement, but through the small, consistent, and often boring acts of daily discipline. This is the essence of the unstoppable habit. Think about the feeling of momentum. When a flywheel starts turning, it takes a lot of effort to get it going. But once it's in motion, it's almost impossible to stop. Your confidence works the same way. It's not the grand victory that makes you feel unstoppable. It's the daily discipline you put into the unseen things. It's the small wins you accumulate when no one is watching. What are these small wins? It's waking up at the time you said you would. It's following through on a promise you made to yourself. It's getting to the gym, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing to do the hard thing when the easy thing is right there. These may seem insignificant on their own, but together they create a powerful internal narrative. They tell your mind, I am a person who does what they say they will do. I can be trusted. This internal trust is the real source of confidence. When you consistently show up for yourself, you stop doubting your own reliability. You build a deep, unshakable feeling that you are a force you can count on. And that feeling is powerful because it's built on a foundation of proof, not just hope. The person who cultivates unstoppable habits doesn't need a public victory to feel good about themselves. Their confidence is already high before they even step into the arena. They've already won in private by doing the work. This momentum creates a shield against setbacks. When a failure inevitably comes, it doesn't crush them because they have a mountain of evidence, all those small daily habits, that proves they are resilient. So, how do you start building these habits? Begin with one small achievable action that you can commit to doing every single day. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. Just pick one thing, like making your bed every morning, reading a chapter of a book, or exercising for 10 minutes. The goal is not the outcome of the habit itself, but the act of doing it consistently. It's the proof that you can be reliable. As you master that first habit, you'll feel a sense of internal strength and you can build on it. The growth is exponential. Your ability to show up for yourself in small ways will translate into a powerful confidence that you can show up for yourself in big ways. You'll stop feeling helpless and start feeling powerful because you'll have undeniable proof that you are the master of your own momentum. And a person with that kind of momentum is truly unstoppable. Chapter 15. The fear of comfort. Confidence is not built in comfort. It's forged in the uncomfortable places most people try to avoid. Think about it. The moments that made you stronger were never the easy ones. They were the ones where you felt nervous, unprepared, maybe even afraid. But you stepped forward anyway. That's where growth lives. That's where dangerous confidence is born. Most people spend their lives running from discomfort. They choose what feels safe, what feels familiar, and what doesn't stretch them too much. But the problem with that approach is simple. If you always choose comfort, you never expand. You stay the same. You play small. And deep down, you know it. That's why so many people secretly feel insecure, because their lives have no proof of their own strength. Confidence isn't about telling yourself you're strong. It's about putting yourself in situations that show you that you are. When you embrace discomfort, you collect evidence. Every time you step into the unknown, every time you do something that scares you a little, you walk away with proof that you can handle it. The more proof you gather, the more unshakable you become. Here's the secret. Discomfort doesn't go away. You'll never reach a point where life stops testing you. But you can train yourself to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the shift. Instead of seeing discomfort as a danger, you start seeing it as training. Instead of running from it, you lean into it. And soon, what used to terrify you begins to feel normal. Think about the first time you tried something new, maybe speaking in front of a group, starting a project, or walking into a room full of strangers. You probably felt nervous, maybe even shaky. But if you kept doing it, the fear faded. It became easier. Why? Because repetition rewires your brain. What once felt impossible becomes routine. That's the power of embracing discomfort. So how do you start? Begin small. Push yourself into situations that stretch you just beyond your comfort zone. Speak up in a meeting when you'd normally stay quiet. Strike up a conversation with a stranger when you'd normally avoid it. Take on a challenge you would usually decline. Every little push builds your capacity. Then go bigger. Take on goals that scare you, not because you might fail, but because they will force you to grow. The gym teaches this principle well. If you only lift what's easy, you never build muscle. The growth happens when you pick up something heavy, when your body shakes and when you feel the strain. Life works the same way. Your mental and emotional muscles only grow under resistance, and here's what's beautiful. The more you embrace discomfort, the more resilient you become. You stop being afraid of failure because you've faced it before. You stop avoiding challenges because you've proven you can rise through them. You stop doubting yourself because you have evidence that you can survive what others can't. That's the root of confidence, not empty words, but lived experience. So, the next time you feel fear creeping in, pause and reframe it. Instead of saying, "I don't want to feel this," tell yourself, "This is where I get stronger." That simple shift changes everything. Suddenly, discomfort is not the enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Dangerous confidence is not about living an easy life. It's about living a life that constantly stretches you, constantly grows you, and constantly reminds you of your own power. Embrace discomfort, seek it, live in it until it feels normal. Because once you do, nothing the world throws at you will ever feel too big. You'll have trained yourself to thrive where others retreat. And that's when people begin to notice that quiet, steady power in you, the kind of confidence that cannot be broken. Chapter 16. The leader's stance. Most people live their lives in a state of constant reaction. Something happens and they respond. Someone criticizes them and they immediately defend themselves. Someone disrespects them and they snap back. They are constantly at the mercy of whatever comes their way, allowing the world to dictate their mood, their energy, and their choices. That isn't confidence, that's dependency. And as long as you're reacting, you're not leading. Think about it. The person who reacts is always one step behind. They're letting the world pull their strings. But the person who leads sets the tone and decides the direction. They don't wait to see what happens before they act. They create what happens. That's the difference between living as a follower of circumstance and living as the leader of your own life. Here's the hard truth. When you react to everything, people learn how to control you. They push your buttons and you respond right on cue. They know what words will make you angry, what actions will make you defensive, and what silence will make you insecure. But when you stop reacting, when you stay calm and steady, suddenly those same people lose their grip. They can't manipulate you anymore. That's where confidence begins to look dangerous, because you become untouchable. Leading doesn't always mean leading others. It starts with leading yourself. It means choosing your actions instead of letting them be chosen for you. It means setting the pace instead of trying to keep up with someone else's. It means asking yourself, what do I want to create here? Instead of, how should I respond to what just happened? Let's make this practical. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone challenges your idea. The reactive person defends themselves right away, sometimes with anger. The leader, however, pauses, listens and calmly responds with clarity, or sometimes chooses not to respond at all, but to redirect the conversation back to the bigger picture. That single choice shifts the whole energy of the room. Think about your relationships. When you're reacting, you're constantly adjusting to someone else's moods. If they're upset, you're upset. But when you lead, you set the emotional tone. You stay steady regardless of their swings, and often they follow your calm instead of you following their chaos. Leadership isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself so completely that you influence everything around you. People naturally follow those who are steady, who are clear, and who are not tossed around by every little wave. And you don't need a title or a position to be that person. You just need discipline over yourself. So how do you shift from reacting to leading? Start by slowing down. Don't give your emotions the driver's seat. Pause before you respond and ask yourself, what outcome do I want here and how can I create it? That 1 second of thought can completely change your direction. Next, Set intentions before situations even happen. If you're about to walk into a stressful environment, decide in advance, I will remain calm. I will speak clearly. I will not let anyone push me off balance. When you enter with that mindset, you lead the situation instead of reacting to it. Finally, remember this: leading isn't about proving yourself. It's about owning yourself. You don't have to win every argument or control every detail. You just have to control yourself. That calm, centered control is magnetic. People can feel it and will start looking to you without you ever asking for it. Dangerous confidence is born when you stop giving the world the power to dictate your actions. When you stop reacting to everything and start leading with intention, you rise above the noise. You stop playing defense and start directing the game. And once you make that shift, you're no longer at the mercy of life. Life is at the mercy of you. Chapter 17. The Minimalist Mindset. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need more. More possessions, more responsibilities, more commitments, more fame, more money. We're conditioned to believe that our value is tied to our accumulation, that a full calendar and a full house are signs of a full life. But this constant pursuit of more often leads to a crushing sense of inadequacy and a profound lack of confidence. The more we own, the more we have to worry about. The more commitments we have, the more our energy is fragmented. This constant burden is the enemy of quiet power. The path to dangerous confidence, however, can be found in a minimalist mindset. This isn't just about owning fewer things. It's about a radical shift in focus. It's about letting go of what doesn't serve you so you can gain control over what truly matters: your time, your energy, and your peace. When you declutter your life of unnecessary possessions, obligations, and even toxic relationships, you create space. This space isn't empty. It's full of clarity. Think about the mental and emotional burden of keeping up, the anxiety of maintaining a crowded calendar, the stress of a cluttered home, or the pressure of saying yes to every social invitation. These are all things that drain your confidence because they pull you in 1,000 different directions. They make you feel reactive and out of control. But a minimalist mindset allows you to say, I have enough. You stop playing the comparison game and start living with intention. This shift is incredibly powerful. When you stop using possessions or a busy schedule to signal your worth, you find that your confidence no longer depends on them. You build a sense of self that is unshakable because it is not tied to fleeting external things. You find that you can be happy with less, and that contentment gives you an incredible sense of freedom. This freedom is what attracts others. People are drawn to those who don't need anything from them, to those who are secure and content with who they are. So how do you cultivate a minimalist mindset for confidence? First, start by decluttering your physical space. A cluttered environment often leads to a cluttered mind. Let go of the things you don't use, love, or need. The act of letting go is a small win that tells your mind, I am in control. Second, be ruthless with your calendar. Say no to obligations that don't align with your values or goals. Treat your time as a precious resource that you protect fiercely. By doing so, you'll gain a sense of agency and respect for your own commitments. Third, curate your relationships. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. Let go of the ones that are constantly draining your energy and making you feel small. Spend your time and energy on the people who lift you up and bring you peace. When you simplify your life, you simplify your mind. You free up mental bandwidth that was once spent on worrying about keeping up. This clarity allows you to focus on building your inner world, your skills, and your self-respect. Dangerous confidence isn't about having it all. It's about realizing you don't need it all to be powerful. It's about finding strength in simplicity and a quiet certainty in living with intention. Chapter 18. The Unbreakable Spirit. Confidence is not built in the absence of failure. On the contrary, it's forged in the fires of it. The true test of your inner strength is not in avoiding setbacks, but in how you respond when things inevitably go wrong. An unbreakable spirit doesn't just endure. It uses every setback, every disappointment, and every failure as fuel for a stronger comeback. This is the ultimate proof of a confidence that can't be broken. Think about people who have only experienced success. Their confidence, while it may appear high, is often fragile. It's built on a foundation of if statements. If I win, I'm worthy. If I succeed, I'm strong. The moment they face a real obstacle, that fragile confidence shatters. But the person who has known failure, who has tasted defeat and still stood tall, has a confidence that is entirely different. It's built on the solid ground of experience. This is the rejection refinery. Every time you face a no, an obstacle, or a setback, you have a choice. You can let it define you, or you can use it to refine you. The key is to detach the failure from your identity. A failed project does not make you a failure. A rejection does not make you unworthy. It's simply information. It's an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow. The more you practice this detachment, the more you realize that a setback is not a dead end. It's just a detour on your path. An unbreakable spirit is built on resilience, and resilience is built on small, consistent acts of courage in the face of adversity. It's about getting up one more time than you fall down. It's about viewing mistakes not as a source of shame, but as valuable lessons. Think about the athlete who lost the big game. They don't quit. They go back to the gym and train harder, armed with the knowledge of what went wrong. They use the pain of that failure as a powerful motivator to become even stronger. So how do you cultivate an unbreakable spirit? First, expect failure. Understand that it is a natural part of growth. The person who is truly confident isn't someone who never fails. It's someone who isn't afraid to try, knowing they might fail, and is confident that they can handle whatever comes their way. Second, reframe your internal narrative. When you face a setback, don't say, "I can't do this." Instead, say, "I'll figure this out. I have the strength to overcome this." Your inner voice should be your biggest cheerleader, not your worst critic. Finally, celebrate your resilience. Look back at all the times you've been knocked down and gotten back up. Recognize that you have survived every bad day, every failure, and every disappointment so far. That is undeniable proof of your strength. Dangerous confidence is not about avoiding the hard parts of life. It's about walking through the fire and emerging on the other side with a quiet certainty that you are stronger for it. It's the deep-seated knowledge that you can handle anything, because you've already handled so much. And once you have that, no external force can ever break you. Chapter 19. The Peak of Power. This is it. The final and ultimate level of confidence. It's when you live as if you need nothing. Not because you don't enjoy success, recognition, or relationships, but because you are not dependent on them. When your sense of worth, your peace, and your identity no longer hinge on what others give or take away, you step into a new kind of freedom that most people never experience. Most people live in a state of constant need. They need approval to feel secure, attention to feel important, and results to feel proud of themselves. Because they are always in need, they are always chasing validation, chasing applause, chasing things that slip through their hands the moment they grasp them. The more they chase, the weaker they feel. But imagine walking through life without that hunger for approval. Imagine pursuing your goals not because you need them to complete you, but because you choose them as an expression of who you already are. Imagine enjoying success but not being defined by it. Imagine having relationships built on choice, not desperation. That is what it means to live as if you need nothing. It doesn't mean you stop caring or isolate yourself. It means you build yourself up so strongly on the inside that you don't crumble if those external things disappear. You carry your own validation, your own peace, and your own power. This is what makes you truly dangerous, because no one can use your need against you. When someone desperately needs approval, they can be manipulated. When someone desperately needs money, they can be bought. When someone desperately needs love, they will settle for less than they deserve. Need is a weakness. But when you move as if you already have everything you need within yourself, you cannot be controlled, you cannot be bribed, and you cannot be broken. This is the mindset of the strongest leaders and the most unshakable people. They enjoy success, but they are not enslaved by it. Their confidence flows from within, not from outside. So how do you start living as if you need nothing? Begin by shifting your focus inward. Instead of asking, "What can people give me?" ask, "What can I give myself?" Like respect, discipline, and purpose. These are things no one can hand you, but you can build them daily. The more you provide for yourself, the less you crave from others. Next, practice gratitude. When you're grateful for what you already have, you stop obsessing over what you lack. Gratitude kills desperation and reminds you that you are already rich in ways that matter, in lessons, in growth, and in resilience. Finally, remind yourself that everything external is temporary. Money can be lost, applause fades, and people come and go, but who you are and what you stand for, that's permanent. Build your foundation on that, and you will never fear loss. Living as if you need nothing doesn't make you cold. In fact, it makes you more magnetic. People are drawn to those who don't beg for attention or try too hard. Why? Because neediness repels, but strength attracts. The person who doesn't need anything carries an aura of abundance, and abundance is irresistible. This is the final stage of confidence. When you no longer chase approval, no longer fear rejection, and no longer need validation, you are truly free. You act out of choice, not desperation. You love because it's real, not because you're empty. When you live as if you need nothing, you will walk with a calmness that others envy, a certainty that others respect, and a power that nothing in this world can take away. Final conclusion: confidence is not about shouting louder than the rest of the world. It's not about forcing people to notice you or pretending to be someone you're not. Confidence is calm. It's steady. It's a presence that doesn't need to prove itself because it already knows its own value. The most dangerous form of confidence, the kind this book has been guiding you toward, comes from one simple truth. You react to nothing, and therefore, nothing controls you. We've walked through the principles that build this kind of unshakable self-belief. You've learned how to stop explaining yourself, master your inner voice, build respect, and kill the need for approval. You've discovered the power of silence, the authority of body language, and the shift from reacting to leading. You've seen that discomfort is where growth lives, that speaking less commands more, and that rejection can become your fuel. You've discovered the strength in detaching from outcomes, setting boundaries without apology, standing calm in chaos, and training until skill becomes certainty. And finally, you've been shown the ultimate level of confidence, living as if you need nothing. This journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about building yourself day by day into someone who no longer bends to every opinion or crumbles under pressure. True confidence is quiet, but it's undeniable. It's written in the way you move, the way you speak, and the way you carry yourself through the storms of life. So take these lessons and live them. Don't just understand them in theory, apply them. Use them in conversations, in challenges, and in the moments when life tries to shake you. This is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the strongest version of yourself. Because when you learn to react to nothing, you gain control over everything. You become untouchable. You become a person others can't ignore. Not because you demand attention, but because your presence itself commands it. That is the power of dangerous confidence, and it's already inside you waiting to be claimed. Now go out and live it. Now go out and live it.